the skills that you can apply practically to learning about business. It's just about your perspective. It's how you see things.
Very well said. You dropped that famous quote, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Do you think there's ever a time where it's good to spend time with the wrong people?
In my opinion, I think when you know that they're the wrong people, and it depends on your definition of wrong, I feel like you should try helping them understand why they are wrong. But if they fail to understand and your efforts are wasted, I would remove myself out of the situation, because energy is important. If I'm spending energy in a toxic relationship, for example, I'm in love with a girl, I need to take a step back and use logic and think, are my efforts going to be reciprocated? Is this person going to get out of this predicament? And if you feel like it's not going to happen, then my view is that you need to remove yourself out of the situation, because being in the situation won't help you.
Oh, I totally agree, Sol. I think long term, that quote stands. But I think in the short term, you only know a good relationship when you've been in a bad one. You only know a good friend when you've been amongst really rubbish friends. And it goes for anything. Yeah. So, I think in the short term, it's good. In a way, it's actually good. It's character building. It helps you identify the standard that you accept in anything. But
interesting. So we talked a lot about university. Talk to me about how it was like to be one of the youngest people on The Apprentice, and the key distinctions you saw between the corporate world and rubbing shoulders with the likes of Tim Campbell and Alan Sugar.
So, I was the youngest on the show this year. And at the beginning, it was a big deal because everyone knew I was the youngest. And I think when you're going up against people who are almost double your age, especially when you're in positions of power, like the project manager, they might not want to listen to you. And at first I was thinking, why, when I say something, why don't they do it? But then maybe when someone else says it, they comply. And then it dawned on me, oh yeah, I'm younger than everyone. I forgot. I don't feel like I'm younger than everyone. I step into a room and we're told to do a task and I'm straight on it. But then I slowly realised that maybe my age does have something to do with it. But, as you go through the process, I think it's more about your leadership and your proof and your track record. It got to a stage where I'd won as PM twice. And I think that kind of showed people that it doesn't always matter how old you are, you can still lead people. But at the beginning, especially when it was just the boys, because you know how it works on the show, you start with just boys and then they mix the teams up. I know that a lot of the boys didn't take me seriously, not just because I was young, but I feel like I was also a bit more immature than a lot of the guys as well. So but then your other question was about being around Tim Campbell and Lord Sugar, and how that compares to the corporate world.
Not even just that. I'd say, what were some of the key things that you took away being around those people? Let's stick with that. Being around Lord Sugar, what are between what he said and just being in that environment, what are the key things that you took away?
Those 3, Tim, Lord Sugar and Karen, they're bosses in their own right and in different ways. They're amazing to be around and they've got a lot of similarities. One that I picked up was their relationship with time. When I first was around these guys, I was thinking, wow, they're so impatient. They want things right now. And just in little things like when there's camera people and microphone guys and they're trying to get them to, hurry up. Well, I've been waiting here for 5 minutes. I've been waiting here for 10 minutes. And it's just their relationship with time. I've never seen anyone like that in the corporate world. The corporate world, they have a way of expressing their relationship with time. They might say, oh, this is an urgent piece of work. Can you make sure it's done as soon as possible? But these guys on The Apprentice, they're very outward with how they with their relationship with time is serious.
Interesting. To piggyback off what you said, success leaves clues, and because they're people of value, their time is more valuable, right? People say time is money. I'm not quite on that belief, because you can run out of money, but if you run out of time, you effectively die, right? However, you definitely realize their relationship with time is important because there's a lot of demand on their time because of the value they have. So having 5 minutes or 10 minutes with Lord Sugar is very important because you can extract the experience that he has over 30 or 40 years of business.
Oh, very true. If you're around him, and even in the boardroom, if you're taking too long to say, he asks you a question. This is how it works. He goes to each person and he asks them a question. The way they edit it, it's as if you're just talking to him. But he calls all the shots in that boardroom. And anytime you see someone speak, it's probably because he's asked them a question. So, but if you take too long to answer his question, he will tell you. And he's not afraid to offend anybody. And I like that. I really like that about him. He's himself in every room he steps into. But yeah, I'll never forget, you don't ever get one-on-one time with Lord Sugar. He's incredibly busy. He goes in for the boardroom. He goes in for the boardroom day, and that's pretty much it. And once in the final, basically, he was coming out of the toilet and he was walking up some stairs. And I was standing there and he walked past me and I said to myself, I'm not going to say anything to him. If he wants to start a convo, then I'll engage in a convo, but I just want to see what happens. So he was walking past and just before he started going on the stairs, he said, "You all right?" So then I was like, yeah, I'm good, Lil Sugar. You okay? Can I quickly just tell you something? Because I planned this in my head. I was like, please, can I quickly tell you something? And he mocked me. He was like, yes, what is it? You know, walking. While I'm talking to him, he's walking. He's looking at me, but he's walking. Shows that his relationship with time. He's always just moving forward. Doesn't even want to stand there to hear what I've got to say. Yeah. And I said, all I want to say is thank you for choosing me. Thank you, because he has a choice in who goes on. He sees the CVs and stuff. That's all I said. And he said, you will achieve fame and popularity, my boy. And that was it.
That's nice.
That was the only one-on-one conversation I had with him.
Wow. Shows you how busy he is. So let's move forward to what you're trying to do now. And it's great. You're putting out a lot of content. So what is AviTV and what are you looking for or looking to accomplish in the near future?
So AviTV is all about business and entrepreneurship, and it's my personal brand as well. I've had it since 2020, and my aim is just to explode it off the back of the show, and my vehicle to do that is YouTube. I've done a lot of research into why it's going to be YouTube. I think YouTube allows you to build a real connection with your audience. So yeah, my short-term goal is just to grow the brand. Okay,
amazing. Similar to you, that's what I've been doing with the Life of Soul. What I realized is that working in investment banking and maintaining the fitness was something that not only resonated to me, resonated with others. So the idea of creating content acts as a digital asset which can provide value, because the more value you provide, the more lives you can serve, right? If you're trading time for money in a one-to-one relationship, you're only interacting with that one person. But if you put out some content, you never know who it could help. I've been on YouTube so many times, how to get ripped or how to build a website. There's information out there. So it's all about providing value, and the more lives you can touch, the better it is.
I love that. And what made you go for the name Life of Soul?
It was really a decision made because it was my life, right? It was easy on the tongue, and the whole idea with a bodybuilding banker, I feel like a lot of people, when they introduce themselves, they give a title, but I try to give a trailer. So if you think of when you watch a movie, you watch the trailer and it makes you want to understand more. It breeds more curiosity. Whereas with a title, if I say, hi, my name is Solomon, I'm an accountant, some people might have preconceived ideas of an accountant, right? And so you might think it's boring and you don't want to ask more questions. And there's two ways you make a first impression: what you say and how you look. The Life of Soul, aka the bodybuilding banker, it evokes emotion and people are intrigued to find out more. And then we can have a more powerful conversation.
I really like that, because how many people, when you meet them, you're not interested by what they say, and they could be doing something that's quite unique and different, but if they say, yeah, using your example, I'm an accountant at KPMG, I've done it for 5 years, how many of those people have we met in our lives?
Exactly.
So no offense to anyone who does that, but I'm just saying it's about how you pitch yourself when you meet somebody. And I think it's always good to be very specific, you know. I like how you say bodybuilding banker. As soon as you hear that, as soon as you hear that, so many questions come to anybody's head. So I was reading a book last night. It's called Key Person of Influence.
I was about to say that. That's how you know great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Daniel Priestley.
Yeah.
Book.
Love him, bro. I'd love him. I'd love to meet him one day. But and last night it was looking at the difference between how you pitch yourself. You know, most people, they just say, I'm a personal trainer at a gym. But if you instead said, I'm a fitness instructor, I take people to Thailand and we undertake Muay Thai sessions for 3 months at a time. My target market is older people from 55 to 75. Already, you know who you are, and the other person will have so many questions. So yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes to introducing yourself, some of the most useful tips I've heard is take people on the journey, but focus on the destination. So if you think of an advertising campaign, let's say you were going on holiday to the Caribbean islands, the advert would focus on the Caribbean islands, it would focus on the food, it would focus on the island, it would focus on the ocean. It's not going to focus on the plane journey and some of the manual things you have to do in between. So when you're presenting yourself, try to paint that picture on someone's head which focuses on the destination and gives highlights on how to get there. The second thing I would say is use powerful and emotive words. You want people to be intrigued in your story. You want people to be curious. The final thing is be succinct. Say your story in 15 minutes or you can say it in 15 seconds. And most people tend to listen to more of your information if you can do it in a succinct manner.
How important is it for everybody to have their own elevator pitch? And do you think that should be taught in schools?
Those are two great questions. I think, listen, it depends on the context of the situation if you're just meeting a casual friend. But from a business sense, everybody is quite busy. And so if you're someone who wants to build a name for themselves, it's very important to offer what you do and why you do it, because people are interested in stories. When you break it down, everything is about people and people's interests. It's really important to convey your ideas in a very effective manner. And in terms of schools, the school system is different, right? I feel like the school system prepares you for work, which effectively doesn't necessarily coincide with someone who wants to be an entrepreneur. I feel even though the traditional school system doesn't teach you that, we are creative. You know, we have imagination. You should always educate yourself in order to be as equipped as possible.
So I was going to ask, I know you touched on the book, Key Person of Influence. Have you read it?
I listened to it on Audible. I'm reading Atomic Habits. That's a fantastic book. The idea of building habits that last over time. So most people, when they want to set goals, they set this huge goal, right? And the brain wants to keep you safe. The brain wants to preserve energy. If you have this huge complex goal, which is start a business, it might be difficult to take action towards it. However, if you break it into component parts, it gives you a lot more clarity and certainty, and you're able to achieve that goal by making intricate steps on a daily or weekly basis. That's a great book.
And I haven't read that book myself, but I think I like what you said about setting goals. And I think a lot of people set goals and then they set goals that are big and audacious. And what happens when you do that is that you can become quite intimidated, you know. But I think what James Clear touches on is to instead focus on the systems, the daily practices. Yeah. Instead of saying, I want to run a marketing business that turns over £200,000 a year, make it granular and break it down to the day by day. How is that going to look on a day-to-day basis? And I think that's an easier way to, in the long term, achieve your goals because, yeah, you've built a habit and a system, so it's easier to stick to that.
I agree. And I think when it comes to business, there's two sales that we make. Everybody thinks about the second one, which is selling to others. But the first thing you have to do is sell to yourself. You have to have a level of conviction in you that empowers the other person to believe in you, right? So it's the idea of putting in the right information. Faith comes by hearing and hearing, making sure that you are assured and you have clarity in your goal. And then you can bring others to your dream and it builds momentum and you're more effective in the long run. Yeah, it's been a fantastic conversation. Is there going to be any other TV shows we should know about?
Nothing planned, but never say never. But you know what? Enough about me. I think we want to see you on TV. So, which show do you reckon you'd most likely go on?
TV. You know what? I feel like the vehicle of TV would be great to vocalize the personal story to serve other people. I flirted with the idea of reality TV, but I don't think it's something that resonates with my long-term goals per se. I want to serve people. And so if it helps from a brand perspective, that's great. But the more I can mix with people who have already successfully done what I'm trying to do, the faster I can get to my final goal.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'll take you down for Love Island next year.
No. I'm good. I've got a missus. I'm happy with her. She's amazing. So, yeah.
Good. Glad to hear. But yeah, thank you so much for organising today. So it's been a very fruitful conversation.
Yeah, listen, Avi, we met at the Forbes Family Group event and I knew that it would be an amazing conversation. Thank you for taking the time to come out. I know you're very busy and a lot of people are demanding your time and it's been a pleasure talking to you. But that's it. It's the boy, the life of soul, aka the bodybuilding banker, and I'm with AviTV. Comment below what you want to see and who you would like to see in this sort of interview. I always try to respond to your comments. It's been great chatting to you guys. We'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace.